Hey guys, today I'm here with one of the greatest experts I've ever met into when it comes to paid advertising. I met him a couple of years ago, probably 3 years, right?
3 years, yeah.
And he's a guy that spent millions and millions of dollars in paid advertising, testing, producing results with paid advertising. He's a guy that actually one day I was remembering when I was running one of my campaigns, and I was having about 2,000 opt-ins a day, and he actually looked at it, tweaked one thing, and from the other day we had 4,000. He doubled my opt-in rate.
For the same money.
For the same money, yeah, for the same investment, yeah. So for the same investment, he actually doubled to 4,000 in a high level, and I was a long time I have been willing to interview him. He's not a guy that goes out there giving interviews. He has a very selective amount of clients. I'm not sure if you even take more clients anyway.
No, beginning of this year, no more clients.
No more clients. So he's actually the real deal, and I'm glad to have Mr. Faruhk Sroff. Yeah, did I pronounce correctly, Faruhk?
You did.
Oh,
you did. Thank
great.
you, Erico.
So Faruhk, let's begin. Why don't you start explaining a little bit about your story? How did you actually become this Google AdWords? And we are talking about Google AdWords here. I know that you do a lot of other stuff, right?
Yes.
But I would like to focus on Google AdWords.
Okay,
So why don't you start talking a little bit how you actually become this expert?
Yeah, I'll give you a quick minute background on myself. Started messing with websites in college when I was in college course, web stuff, and a little bit of SEO on that end. And when I got out, I was looking for an internship in computer networking marketing. That was my degree. And long and short of it is there was this marketing firm that had just started, and got in there, got my internship. Within 2 weeks I was hired, and their main focus was basically using AdWords for affiliate offers back in the day to promote for big companies through commission junction and so on and so forth. And my responsibility was basically making sure we're managing thousands and thousands of dollars of AdWords for these affiliate arbitrage, so to speak. From that, it grew into an agency where I was able to manage huge brands, very lucky enough to manage Everlast, Proactive, DKNY, Apple Bottom, Baby Fats, all these cool brands I was exposed to and managing millions of dollars of ad spend. And continuing on, I really loved it, explored more into different paid medias like media buys, and comparison shopping and so on and so forth. So really what I fell in love with at the end of the day was AdWords, just because it was the best way when the person's in their buying cycle or research cycle, they're first going to Google or Yahoo or MSN, the top 3 engines, and there's no means of advertising really, billboard, print or whatever. They weren't attracting people when they're in the buying cycle or in the research cycle. When somebody goes to Google and types something in, they're looking for that, and imagine your ad popping right there. You're able to see what they're clicking on, how much time they're spending on the website, and the return was just very fascinating to me. And they were always constantly developing. So those were, back in the day, 2003 was the wild, wild west, right? We could have 10 different companies represent Zappos, all 10 ads for, like, if you typed in shoes or something. And then they changed the policy, only one unique domain. And they've been obviously modifying a lot now and very advanced. But essentially, during that time, started my own company in 2008 and selected 2 to 3 main clients that were at least spending $25,000 per month or more. Got lucky, and I've been, doing paid ads since then. Yeah.
Awesome. And just to give some perspective for the people that's actually watching, how much money did you ever, not precisely, but what sort of ballpark figure did you ever spend on AdWords itself?
Just AdWords, huh?
Around the ball, so that people can get
10 years. I would probably say close to probably over $35 million so far.
So $35 million on that specific tool.
On that, specific platform.
Awesome. That gave you hopefully perspective to see what works and what doesn't. And I know this thing is changing. This game is changing. I invest in AdWords a lot. Yeah. So here's a guy that invested already around $35 million on that tool.
Not my money, my clients.
Your clients, of course. So, some of the people right there, I would say most of the people right there do not use AdWords right now, or do not use as efficiently as someone like in your playing your type of game.
Sure.
So what would you say, what would you tell them the top 3 tips, or the top tips you would give them right now if you could just have a 5-minute conversation with them?
Yeah, it's, there's obviously, depending on where you are, these tips may be applicable to you or not. But when I basically used to take clients on, and what I do is, obviously they were spending money, what I do is a free analysis for them. And I'd go into their account and within 20 minutes be able to identify what I did with Erico when, he showed me his campaigns, just little things that a lot of people, well, Google doesn't tell you should do this, obviously. They give you some best practices, but these are the key points that will make a difference from basically lowering your cost per clicks to increasing your conversion rates and so on and so forth. So I think the main aspect of it is the keywords. At the end of the day, you're bidding on keywords, and that's what you're buying. And the selection of keywords, obviously, there's a process. It's not that rocket science. Is make sure it's applicable to your products or services. But what you do with that keyword is very important, and how you organize it within the back end of AdWords is super, super, super important. And basically what that means is once you're researching, as I was just talking a little bit ago about the buying cycle and the research cycle, it's the way people are. So when people are in the buying cycle, for instance, they're more likely to convert because the query they type in is a lot more qualified. To give you a quick example, I said shoes before, so I'll stick with that. If somebody types in Nike Air Jordan men's shoes, they've done their research, the model they want, and so on and so forth. So when you show your ad over there and you put the price, Nike Air Jordans, $299, they click on it, they go directly to the Nike Air Jordans page, the likelihood of them converting is much higher. So why wouldn't you take those main buying keywords and organize them in a better fashion? So the way you want to organize your campaign, in essence, is take your general keywords, which are going to be more long tail, like let's just say men's sneakers, versus your buying cycle keywords, Nike Air, Jordans, so on and so forth, and separate them into different campaigns. This way, not only you're able to allocate the different budgets to more, so long tail keywords, buying cycle, more budget to them because they're going to convert higher versus the research phase. That's one element of it. My second best tip on following up to that is the way you organize. Google's gone crazy with the different the features and so on and so forth, but the match type is most important. What people do when they start AdWords is basically they'll research the keyword. Google has a free keyword tool that you could put in a product or services that matches your keyword, and they'll give you a whole bunch of results. They'll take that results and just put it into a campaign. We know now how to organize them, but when you put it in just like that, it's called broad match, which means that any of those keywords in the previous example, I said Nike, men's, Air, Jordan, sneakers, whatever, any of those, if somebody types in men's something else, clothing, men was in your keyword, that your ad would show up, and it's not relevant, which means you're going to pay more, you're not going to get the quality score and all these different fun stuff. So in order to avoid that, they came out with something called the match type, and there are 4 main ones that you really want to pay attention to. There's a broad phrase match, exact type, and modified broad. So what I would want you guys to do, basically, if you're starting out, take those set of keywords, do modified broad. My favorite match type gets the best results. And do exact. And what that basically means, you want me to explain that real quick? Okay, sure. So modified broad is basically there's going to be a plus in front of each of these keywords. So in essence, any of those keywords plus, let's just say for instance, you put men's sneakers in modified broad, and somebody types in Nike men's sneakers. Now, men's sneakers was in your phrase, and somebody just puts Nike. So just in case you haven't thought of it or whatever, your ad will still show up. Now, that's modified broad versus broad, just triggering any of those keywords would show up. There's the exact match. What it does is somebody actually has to type in exactly Nike men's sneakers, if that's your keyword, in the brackets, then only your ad will show. But what happens is, since that's so targeted, everybody and all the advertisers will start doing just exact match because that's the most targeted, and logically that makes sense. But now you're not only competing it's an auction system, so the higher you pay, the more you appear, and so on and so forth, and the market dictates the price of the click. So everybody, since if they're bidding on the same keyword and everybody bidding on exact, that drives the cost of the exact match very high. Sure. So there's a lot of this opportunity with the modified Brad giving you the same kind of exposure, a lot more tight woven, and you get a lot more same keyword, you get a lot better cost per clicks, lower cost per clicks, and conversion rates, if you're doing the offer properly, it's same. So
awesome.
That's a really cool tip.
And I believe that whatever you did in my account on that day was something like that. It
was
a long time
You were
ago.
doing a lot of broad match.
I was doing a lot of broad match. I don't remember exactly, but it was like, this was the difference between, spending X and getting 2,000 leads and spending X and getting 4,000 leads.
Yeah.
That brings me to actually one question that just popped out in my head.
Yeah.
So like at that, a lot of people watching there is doing direct response marketing. They're building lists.
Right.
And for a long time, it's been, tough to build lists. Is it still possible to use Google as a tool to build lists? Mm-hmm. For direct response, or is it just, you should say, it's just a tool for people that is already enrolled, already want to buy, they want to buy now, like the 3% of the people? Can you actually use Google to build lists so we can create relationship and stuff like that? Is it possible?
It is, and actually we do that today.
Because a lot of people we call the Google slap, right?
Yeah, and Google slap, what basically Google's against is the ethicalness of the entire industry. A lot of people, Google's really main target is to deliver the best information for the user, because that's what increases their user engagement in terms of more people will use that, because if they get the relevant information, then obviously that's going to be their choice of search engine. So that's their goal, and they can police the AdWords aspect of it, the organic aspect of it, because that's their algorithm, nobody else knows it. But in order to enforce the AdWords end of it, people were doing crazy spammy stuff, which obviously is what is going to get you a Google slap. So one, the best practice is do white hat ethical stuff, and that's one of the main Google goal. And what it is just follow Google Webmaster Guidelines, and Google basically says, okay, if you're going to track information such as people coming in and the conversion rates, you're going to have cookies and pixels, have a privacy policy up there. Have a contact us, because a lot of people started doing stupid landing pages and no real information, and that's misleading to the consumer. So when they're coming in, a consumer's coming in, they want to feel trusted. This will not only engage the increase the conversion rates if you're putting contact us, privacy policy, and all these information, but it also gives them trust, and then Google looks at this as another plus factor. So there's these little key indicators that you need to have for Google to say, okay, we're going to allow this method of lead generation, direct response, where you're going to get the exchange for ebooks or ethical bribe in exchange for an email or so on and so forth. So
you can still put a squeeze page on as a landing page,
yes,
provided you are following some guidelines. Right? And
they're weird with certain things like get rich quick schemes. So if you're going to say make $1 million tomorrow, get this ebook, it's not going to work. That's going to be slapped right away. Now, in regards to that, you have to have a disclaimer. We do not believe in get rich schemes. So there's obviously, if you do it the right way, that's good for the consumer, because you want to let them know that by buying this information, it's not a push button thing or anything like that. So Google's looking for the same information that you should be ethically delivering to your consumer. Awesome.
And one thing that I probably think about is that before it was very easy to get in and just put this.
Yeah.
And that was good. I lived in that era, but at the same time, right now is an opportunity because it's not that easy. So not many people actually do it.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of the not good, so good players. So if you end up doing it, you theoretically could have more of a share of the traffic.
Yeah, you know what? It's the funny thing with marketers. They're always looking for the next biggest thing, and they're not focused on something that's working. So Google has so many new features, especially with the way the content network works, the banner system, the display advertising in essence, they call it. they've allowed down to the level of keyword reporting and so on and so forth. So it gives you so much data that you don't even have to go to the next level. So they become scared because everybody talks it's not working. Okay, what's working? And then they have the squirrel syndrome, right? So as you said, Erico, it's just when other people are leaving, that's what creates opportunity. So a lot of people have left that AdWords and now gone to Facebook and so on and so forth because obviously that's working as well. And they've forgotten this behemoth. 75% of the search engine population in the U.S. anyway use Google. I'm sure, I don't know the stats in Brazil, but...
Probably more than that.
Yeah, right? So it's one of the main search engines, and there's like people, again, same concept. You can't get in front of people who are looking for your products or services. It's just powerful. So if you're not using it, it's not, and you have control of every aspect of it, from the budget to where people go and all. It's amazing the way you could leverage that marketing channel. So
awesome, Faruhk. Thank you very much, guys. Very grateful to have you here. Very grateful for you to, be gracious enough to share this kind of tips with the audience.
Oh, before I go, my third tip.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we got sidetracked a little bit. Another thing, just on that keywords, I mean, I could go on and on about this topic, and these are the main fundamentals that will just help you get organized right away. And by the way, search for just Google AdWords 101. They have some free training that will go through a little bit more overall-wise, but they won't tell you what I'm telling you in detail. So what's that? Google AdWords? Google AdWords 101.com. Just Google that, and it's there on their help site, and they give you videos and how to organize and all this stuff, but they don't tell you like, okay, do X, Y, Z, obviously. So they give you best practices, which if you're going to do it, just go through that, and they tell you how they charge you and all this. So you'll get a better picture. It'll take you maybe like 2-3 hours at the most. So with that said, my third tip with that regards the buying cycle phase and the research phase down to the match type. The third most important things is Google's looking for relevancy. So your ad copy is very important because their entire algorithm is based on a quality score algorithm, and they evaluate such things as how many people looked for that keyword versus clicked on your ad. The more people clicking on your ad, lower your cost, the higher you appear, and get your competitors to pay more. So you basically want to offer quality. And the way to do that is, let's just pretend if you have like 50 keywords in one little ad group, there's a campaign level and an ad group level. So if you have 50 keywords in an ad group level, you're going to have all over the place, and the ad's not going to match that message or that keyword. So the best practice, if you really want to blow things away, it's going to take a lot more time, and there are tools out there. We've built internal tools to do this, but one keyword per ad group, per ad copy, especially for your main core high volume keywords, that's going to blow things out the water, because that's going to be so relevant, and going to the relevant landing page that has that keyword, that Google also evaluates the landing page quality score and how fast it loads and so on and so forth. So having all those three things meet together gives you a high quality score. In turn, the name of the game is lower cost per clicks, higher position, better conversions. Awesome. So it's more work, but it ends up saving you money. Okay, yeah. Cool. Awesome, man. Thank you very much, guys. If you're liking this content, please, there's a button like, there's a button not like. Please leave a comment. I reread all the comments. Actually, you don't, but I do. Probably the comments will be in Portuguese anyway, but I do. I really care, because this is actually gives me a guidance of what should I publish next, and if you have any questions, any topics you want me to interview people, and I will do my best to do it. And if you are interested in be the first to receive these updates, there is over there, I guess there's a ball, and it has a subscriber button. So if subscribe right now, and I see you tomorrow in my next